Sometimes in a place like the Ukraine, you have to remind yourself that this is the age of Gorbachev, and not Brezhnev or even Stalin. The other day, they buried the man who ran this republic for 17 years until last autumn. Vladimir Shubitsky was ruthless, dogmatic. He once said the only way to govern was with an iron fist. But he was loved here, and not just by those close to him, but by hundreds of thousands of people who believed and still do that the old ways work best. That's changing, of course, even in the Ukraine. But the mistake is to think that it's going to happen now, and that this weekend's elections will be a watershed for the Communist Party. They won't. What the party has, power the party keeps. That is Shubitsky's legacy. There is an opposition here. It's called Rukh, the nationalist movement. Their way of remembering Shubitsky was to demonstrate outside the old KGB headquarters in Kiev and recall the millions who died here under Stalin. For these people, Gorbachev's been no savior. This man, for example, claimed 2 relatives had been murdered by the KGB in the early days of Gorbachev's perestroika. On the edge of the crowd, an election candidate, running for the new parliament as a nationalist and as a prisoner of conscience. Are you going to be fighting for independence?
I think so, because it is the decision of all the Ukrainian people. Not only Ukrainian nations, but every peoples who are living here.
The Ukraine is the breadbasket of the Soviet Union. Today, though, bread is one of the few staples in abundant supply. There isn't enough grain to feed cattle. They often have to ration milk. Meat is scarce. Some have shown they will not put up with it. The miners of the Ukraine, for example. Since their strikes last year, they've removed their Communist Party bosses. In the mining capital of Donetsk, a mass demonstration a few weeks ago was enough to bring the party leadership down. The party is not yet in retreat. And one reason is that the nationalists of Rukh have fought this campaign like the novices they are. Just a few months old, Rukh is a hodgepodge of different factions. There are people who want an independent state now. Those who make nuclear power stations like Chernobyl their priority. There are dissidents who demand a Western-style rule of law. And the religious, mainly the Jews and Catholics. Rukh is a marriage of convenience, and even at their own rallies they argue among themselves. The issue here then, unlike the Baltics, is not a nationalist victory, but what the MPs will do once elected to Parliament. It was Lenin who said all power to the Soviets. Now Mr. Gorbachev's doing the same. The danger is that these new Soviets will be talking shops and little more. From the opposition benches, the nationalists will push for radical reforms. But the party will have a veto. And this party will stand its ground. Do you see a battle for power after this election between yourselves and the Communist Party?
It is inevitable.
The party and its apparatus, certainly the KGB, is in no mood to take that kind of talk lying down. And memories are long here. In the woods outside Kiev, there's a simple monument to the victims of Communist Party rule. Today, people come here to lay flowers and buy custom fresh bread, in memory of those who died during Stalin's purges and the terrible famine of the 1930s. When they vote this weekend, they will remember that past, but that will not make them gamble on the future. There is still fear in a society like this, and fear will probably keep the party in power, even in this age of glasnost and perestroika.